I'm precise as a diamond or whatever. Also, I'm Wren. I'm reading information technology. It's a fiction piece. It's the only thing I'm reading. Todd was not qualified. In fact, he was perhaps the least qualified IT guy in all of IT history. And that was a pretty high hurdle to jump. Still, he had managed to leap right over this hurdle and, of course, nail the landing. As a result, he was now racing across the pages of an IT manual trying to gain some basic knowledge before his first day on the job. When he'd submitted the application, he hadn't been expecting to actually get the job. It had just been something he'd done to try and fit in more with humanity. His roommates always complained about the job market. Hopefully this would help Todd understand. Perhaps then he wouldn't get such weird looks when he complained about his own difficulties in life, such as doing nothing but sitting around all day and having nothing to occupy his time. And so, bolstering his resume with plenty of fake accolades, he had managed to secure himself a role in the finest IT establishment in the entire world, Elmar. There was just one problem that came as a result of him getting a job. One pretty major problem, or perhaps you could call it a small problem. Todd was a mouse. Most of his life, he'd been a normal, food-stealing, hole-digging house mouse. And then, one day, as if the universe decided it would be really funny, he had the intelligence of a person, as well as a few useful anthropomorphic traits. He could speak, albeit in a voice higher than the dinkiest key on a xylophone, read, once he had taught himself how to do so, and exert fine motor control, though he could barely lift a feather. Despite being a mouse and not really wanting the job in the first place, Todd stubbornly decided that he would take the offer and join the workforce. Sure, the application had been faked, but getting a job would be an even better way to fit in with humanity. You just had to learn how to do IT. The next morning, when he heard the human who lived on the other side of the mouse hole getting out of bed, he scampered out into the open. By now, the people living at the house were used to his presence. Todd had started yammering at them the day he gained the ability to speak. "Take me to Elmar." "What? Why? You know what Elmar is?" asked Lily, the woman whose room he had scampered into. She was one of the original inhabitants of this house. She was a human, and she, like Todd, had a job, but still chose to complain about the job market anyway, out of solidarity with her unemployed brother. "I got a job there," Todd squeaked. "You what?" Lily's face contorted for some reason, as if this was a particularly difficult concept to grasp. "I got a job. Do you need to see the documents?" "Yeah, show me the documents," she said, sighing as if she had been told a bad joke. Todd scurried into his hole in the wall and grabbed the papers, lugging them behind him. "Geez Louise, these sure are heavy," Todd complained. Lily helpfully stood by and did nothing. Todd carried the papers across the room all the way to her feet. She picked them up. "Holy crap, you actually did." Todd smirked as best a mouse could. "Told ya." "Okay, I need to see what'll happen when they find out you're a mouse. I'll bring you to Elmar at..." Lily checked over the documents for half a second. 7:45. Go eat breakfast. "Right, you can't cook or reach the counters. I'll get my brother to make you breakfast." "Where do you want me to set you down?" Lily had Todd in the front pocket of her Hawaiian shirt. "Can you bring me to the checkout aisles? It's a little-known fact that they're also check-in aisles. You can check into work there." "That's interesting." Lily went over to the checkouts and set Todd down upon one of the conveyors. The cashier gasped upon seeing the mouse and quickly turned on the conveyor to move him closer. "It's so adorable," said the cashier. "Is it yours?" Lily shrugged. Todd stuck out his little tongue in protest. "I'm not some pet." The cashier looked stunned for a moment. "Did it just talk?" His sights turned towards Lily. "It talked, right?" "I'm right here," Todd said, waving at the cashier. The cashier looked back down at him and brushed some hair out of his eyes. "Oh, sorry, mice don't usually talk. I'm here about the job. I'm Pat Halverson, the new IT guy." "You're a mouse." "A mouse who has bills to pay," said Todd, despite not in fact having any financial obligations towards the government. He was not a citizen. "That checks out," the cashier conceded, despite the fact that it didn't check out. "The IT realm is in the third freezer on the left side of the frozen pizza aisle. You totally can miss it, but you should be able to find your way. I've never been down there or seen any of them, but I'm sure the other IT guys will be happy to have new company." "Can you check me in?" asked Todd. "Oh yeah," the cashier said, grabbing the grocery scanner and hovering over Todd. He pressed a button on it. "Beep. Be sure to check out at the end of your shift. Thank you for working at Elmart." Todd puffed up his tiny stature with pride, turning to Lily. "I'm all checked in. Bring me to the freezer." "I'm not going to be your chauffeur." "It's not like I can just walk there. It'd take a million years, and I can't even open the door on my own." Lily frowned. "Oh boy, I suppose that's true. But I've got my own job, Todd. There's no way to manage. We can figure this out later." Todd did a little wave to accentuate his dismissal of the notion. "Okay, sure, whatever, fine." Lily walked over to the third freezer in the frozen pizza aisle. Looking closely, the unstocked shelves in this specific freezer were actually a printout of a stretched and pixelated JPEG glued haphazardly onto the back of the glass. When she opened the door, she discovered an entrance into a long, dark tunnel. It was pitch black, as if looking into a void that was also pitch black, as voids ought to be. "This is ominous," Lily said with a gulp. "Onwards!" "Oh, okay then," said Lily. She walked forward. "Here goes nothing." The dark room got even darker as she picked up her pace, darkening the darkness. "Which way is forward?" asked Lily. "How could you have possibly gotten turned around?" asked Todd, rolling his little mouse eyes. "It's a hallway. It only goes forwards." "I don't know. What if I get turned around? Are you, just scared of the dark or something? Come on, it's just a hallway, as previously stated." Lily murmured something obscene, but reluctantly continued to walk forward despite her obvious fear. She felt the ground beneath her feet with each step. It was smooth and uneven. It was smooth and even, completely incapable of causing one to trip. And then she felt a striking and concerning lack of floor. "Whoa!" She readjusted her balance onto her back leg, managing to narrowly avoid falling off the edge. "What the heck, ground? You were supposed to be there for me." "Watch where you're going," Todd chided. Lily gestured around at the impenetrable, smothering darkness engulfing them, but it was dark enough that Todd couldn't even see this. As Lily gesticulated, her hand bumped into something attached to the wall. A railing! She grabbed hold of it, noticing that it was slanting downwards in the direction of what she had mistakenly assumed was a death pit. Hi, stairs," she said. She began to descend. "Why don't you use the light on your big rectangle so you don't fall?" asked Todd. "I didn't charge it last time." "You're an IT worker, apparently. You should know what a phone is." "Just testing you," Todd declared. Lily huffed. The two continued to bicker as Lily kept descending the stairs. She was starting to get quite exhausted, but they kept going and going until... "You see that?" she asked Todd, pointing vaguely forward. There was a faint light, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but when she pointed with her finger, the silhouette became visibly darker than the space in front of her. "No, I'm a mouse. I have terrible eyesight." "Do you need a pair of glasses? Little mouse glasses?" asked Lily. "I don't think that would work," said Todd. No, it totally would." "Anyway, it's definitely getting brighter in here." There was now enough definition in the room to make out where the floor and ceiling began, and as their descent continued, it eventually got bright enough that they could see the end of the stairs. The stairwell was a dimly lit room, with two lamps hanging on either side of the stairs. Across the carpet from the stairs, a heavy steel door which read IT room, employees only, patiently sat waiting to be opened. "Well, looks like this is as far as I can take you," Lily said. "I'm not an employee. Well, I am, but not an Elmart employee. I'm an employee at Sham's Club." Todd read the sign several times. "What? Now who's going to carry me everywhere?" "I don't know," said Lily. I wasn't going to do that to begin with, but I guess I'll open the door and be back later to pick you up." "You could come work here at Elmart," suggested the mouse. "It's nice here. We've got benefits." "You haven't even done a minute of work for this company yet, and you're already saying it's nice here? Did we not just walk through a dreary tunnel for 10 minutes? I thought it was a really nice dreary tunnel, not the bad kind of dreary tunnel. That tunnel's actually one of the benefits, that and dental's paid for." "You're BSing me. Are there even any dentists who work with mice?" "Never mind, I'm not working here, all right? I respect the people, or mice, who do, but I'd never be able to work in the IT industry." "They also sell groceries," Todd pointed out. "I'll think about it," Lily responded. She was not going to think about it. Todd's ploy to get a personal chauffeur had failed. Lily pulled the door open for Todd, allowing him to scamper in. He turned around to wave at Lily as the door closed in front of him. Lily smirked but did a tiny wave back. He then turned around again to look at the room, accidentally making himself dizzy for a second. "Whoa," he said, both because of the dizziness and the sight that lay in front of him. All around the room were computers of various sizes, including both comically large and comically small. In front of these computers was a veritable smorgasbord of forest animals of all shapes and sizes. Todd's little round ears grew back in surprise. "Ah," said an upside-down raccoon, popping in front of him from the ceiling. The raccoon was wearing a tie backwards, and it hung behind their head. "You must be the new hire." "You're—" "Yes, I know my tie is on backwards," the raccoon said. "It's to signify that I'm chill and relaxed and cool." "Oh, that makes sense," the mouse agreed. "But I was actually going to say you're a raccoon." "Okay, good. You already know your animals." "I'm an expert." The raccoon dropped to the floor and scurried off in the direction of the smallest computer. He went on his haunches behind it, gesturing to it with his front paws and looking back and forth from the computer and Todd. "This is kind of yours now. Oh, but don't take that literally like I did when I first got here. Get it? Because I literally took it." "Wow, it's me-sized." "Indeed," mused the shrink ray. "Anywho, I'm your new manager. Call me Mr. Consequences." "That's a really cool name," Todd said. "Yeah, I chose it myself," Mr. Consequences agreed. "It's fitting, isn't it?" "Nah," said Todd. "Anyway, I don't know how jobs work. What's my first assignment?" Mr. Consequences shrugged. "We all faked our applications here, so I don't know. Usually, we just hang out, and when we get calls from concerned customers, we just ask them if they turned it off and on again. It always does the trick." "Wow, so all the computer repair stuff is bogus?" "Yep. When the customers come in person, if we can't fix their computer, we just steal a new one from the tech store across the street and transfer over the files. That's why we're so highly rated. So most of the time, we can just hang around." As Todd absorbed this information, his expression of wonder slowly morphed into a grin. "In that case, this sounds like the perfect job for me."
All right, our last reader, our last senior tonight is Jack Couchman. Jack Couchman is a person who will argue you into the ground and delight you while doing it, or sometimes just make you mad. Jack has as much courage and strength as any person I have ever known, and this comes through in the writing. I have cried at Jack's readings. I swore I would never say that out loud. Miss Gewant says, Jack's poems spring from deep empathy for the self and for others. Invested in rhythm and accessibility, Jack's poems beg to be heard. And I have a feeling they will. Jack is just getting started.